family property to the St. Louis County Parks Department. How did it become a sculpture park?
The artist Ernest Trova, St. Louis artist, gifted over 40 sculptures to create the park. And this is really what allowed it to open not just as a park, but as a sculpture park.
Lauren Ross is the executive director of Lawmeyer. Since then, she says they've worked with more than 1,000 artists in various ways, and you can find more than 70 sculptures there on any given day. The forecast for overnight tonight, low 42 degrees. For tomorrow, we've got clouds, high of 66. For tomorrow night, low 56. And for Wednesday, could set a record afternoon warmth, high of 72. Right now, it's cloudy and 53 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is a shortened edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. The next hour, we will take you until 8 o'clock this evening. Much of this hour is going to be spent listening back to what Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol said today as we did our daily media session with him. There were a lot of things to talk about today. Today was the first full squad workout. Today was the day where Ozzie Smith and Yadier Molina showed up. Today was the day where we were starting to learn some of the pitching plans in terms of the rotation in Grapefruit League play. Just a lot. There was really a lot going on today, and we'll touch on all of that when we listen back to Ollie. As always, if you want to chime in, you could do so probably with this hour today. Best to text or tweet into the program. Not sure if we'll have time for phone calls here in this very, very short edition of the program, but feel free to text in your thoughts at 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. That's how you text in, or you can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. For those of you who are watching us on our video stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, feel free to leave a comment in the chat, and we can try to address those as we do go along. And just a shameless plug for you, by the way, speaking of Twitter, if you want to see videos from Cardinals Spring Training, so I want to see maybe some of these matchups during live BP, want to see some drills going on, things like that. I am posting a lot of videos on my Twitter at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. I've gotten a hefty number of new followers here over the last couple of days from people who have found those videos, and certainly appreciate that. Maybe you're finding this show. Maybe you're somebody who just followed us, and then you're finding this show because of we tweeted out. That's fantastic. Glad to have you with us, and we'll just keep the Cardinals conversation going, not just tonight, but all throughout spring training and into the regular season as well, as that's what we do here on KMOX, and that's kind of what my role is, to talk Cardinals baseball with you, and I'm certainly glad to be able to do that. As mentioned, interesting day today, and on the day of the first full squad workout, there is always a meeting that takes place in the Cardinals clubhouse, where basically everybody connected to the big leagues, so major league players, 40-man roster guys, major league staff, they all come together in the clubhouse, and a number of individuals address the team, including team chairman Bill DeWitt II. Now, this was the first opportunity for Chaim Bloom to address the team, and Derek Gould did a good job. There's a story up at the Post-Dispatch of talking to guys after that meeting took place of what was kind of said. But one of the big messages today is how this is a young group. This is a bunch of guys who have a huge opportunity, and it's a chance to take a step forward and a chance to prove some people wrong for sure. Also in that room today was Yadier Molina, Ozzie Smith. Those are a couple instructors coming in. Of course, someone like Jason Isringhausen is employed by the team, so he's always around. But a lot of talk today about the various alumni, and in our next segment, we'll certainly touch on that a lot, because we'll hear from Oliver Marmol and his thoughts on having the alumni around. But it's really good. He embraces it. He really, really embraces having these guys around and the impact that they can have. And this is one area that the Cardinals have an advantage over many other teams. And you hope that that advantage is not starting to dissipate as the number of Hall of Famers are not, that number has gone down in recent years. But for Ozzie Smith to walk in, and he's already developed a relationship with Mason Wynn, and Wynn just has so much reverence for Ozzie and everything that he's done. And I tweeted a video of this today. I thought it was pretty cool. When everybody was walking off the field today at the end of the final live BP session, it was Thomas Sajaci and Ozzie walking off together and having a conversation. And that's impactful. You'll hear Ali say this coming up in our next segment, but he made it very clear today that somebody like Yadier Molina is not being brought in here to impact the catchers. Only the catchers would be the better way to say that. Someone like Yadier Molina is coming in here to impact everybody. And they always have alumni and they always have special instructors coming in. It feels like they want to expand that group this year and have more and more guys in. Adam Wainwright's name was specifically mentioned. At some point, he's going to come in as a special instructor this spring. And there's likely to be some other guys who come in as well. It's been rumored that David Freese might be back. And there might be a few that pop in here that we're not completely expecting. And that's Ali loves the history of the Cardinals organization, and he loves the fact that these relationships can be developed. So, and look, it was just good. It was everybody on the first full squad workout day. Everybody's always going to have a little extra pep in the step because of what this day represents. There's a reason that hope springs eternal is a cliche when it comes to spring training, but today's a fun day. Today's a cool day when it comes to all these things. And it's really good to see somebody like Yadier Molina back in the fold. And we saw him a little bit last year, but and he talked to the media for a few moments today. He's going to be around a fair amount this year. We're going to see him for about a week here. Then he's got to go take care of his WBC duties with the Puerto Rican team. And then he's going to rejoin spring training at the end of the WBC. He has a number of series that he is scheduled to be with the big league team this year. And then he's also going to go make visits to the various affiliates as the year goes along as well. Like I've worked in the minor leagues. I can go back to, my time doing low A baseball. And every once in a while, I was in the Royals organization when I was doing low A baseball. And every once in a while, the Royals would send a former big leaguer into our spot and would basically embed that individual with us for a week or so to be a special instructor for the week. And that was always really impactful. I keep using the word impactful, but it was really impactful. And during the course of a really long season, and that's what it is. It's not always easy to play in the minor leagues. To have somebody like that come in, it adds a lot. And Yadier Molina was not being a player of the stature, and I'm not trying to take shots at the guys who came in, but a player the stature of Yadier Molina was not the kind of players that were coming in. So I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really good. Very positive day today. It's easy to be positive, and there's going to be moments of adversity this year, right? Like we understand who this team is, what this team is, and the likely outcome. Not the guaranteed outcome, but the likely outcome to this season. We understand what that is likely to be. And we are going to spend a fair amount of time talking about that as the year goes along. We talked about this today on Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie brought it up because he had a video of it over at STL Sports Central. Like, this could be a really bad offensive club. It could be better than really bad, but it could be a team that really struggles to hit and really struggles to score runs. That's my big question mark. If I had like any assurances that this was going to be at least an average offensive club, I would be a lot more comfortable talking about this team being a team that can really exceed expectations and this team really overachieving, because I like the starting pitching group. I think they're going to have 5 starting pitchers on any given night that are going to give them the chance to win a game. I think they may be a little bit creative when it comes to starting pitching as well. If it's a month from now and there are 6 guys who really earned a spot in the starting rotation, I don't know if it would be a straight 6-man rotation, but I could certainly see them being creative in the way that they use their starters, or maybe some guys they keep on a 5-man rotation and they have a 6th guy in there, and they just, because Ali made this point the other day, and I think he's right. Spring training actually is not super conducive to ramping pitchers up the way that you would like to. And that ramp up process has to continue into the regular season. They're going to start this spring with a bunch of dudes being stretched out as starters. Now, they're only going to end up with 5 or 6 guys as starting pitchers when the season gets started. But there's really limited innings. You have 9 innings. You have 1 guy who can start. Occasionally you'll play 2 games in a day when you've got a split squad situation, but those are few and far between. When you're trying to find the innings for everybody, that can be a challenge. And we learned today that Dustin May is not going to take a turn in the rotation the first time through in Grapefruit League play. Instead, he's going to continue to work on bullpen or work on a backfield, somewhat similar to what they did with Sonny Gray last year. And I think that makes sense because he's the most veteran guy that you have. Health is a little bit of an issue for him as he continues to, come back and wants to have full health once again. So no real need to push him here early on in spring. And if nothing else, that's going to open up one more start and one more game and a handful of innings for somebody else who's going to be given that opportunity. So if you take the idea that spring training doesn't actually give you the opportunity to fully ramp up starters as much as you would like them to be, as much as they're going to be ramped up a month into the season, well, then carrying an extra guy and being creative with the rotation to start the season is something that has value. And when you look at the equation that was used in recent years for the Cardinals, last year we saw Matt Swanson and Kyle Leahy essentially alternate back and forth in being the multi-inning relief pitcher who can handle high leverage spots. And now Kyle Leahy's competing for a spot in the rotation. And I think he's going to win a spot. If I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think we're likely to see Kyle Leahy in the rotation when the season gets started. Well, that equation of having the 2 multi-inning relievers who are essentially alternating back and forth, who's got the multi-inning day that day, well, you got to find somebody else. So if there is a starting pitcher who comes up short of being in the rotation, they're in that spot almost. And Steven Matz was in that role for a little bit. Now that's a little bit different than what I'm talking about with the 2 innings, high leverage kind of situations. But you get where I'm going. And even the Matz role, that is something that could be out there where maybe you have that 6th starter and they're going to work sometimes as a starter and they're going to work sometimes as a relief pitcher, especially in the early portion of the season. So I think that's a strength. I think pitching is a strength of this team. Some of this is dependent upon Hunter Dobbins, and Dobbins is not 100% healthy yet. We were told today that he is going to be getting another medical check here over the next few days. He can throw without a problem. Like, that's not an issue. He can throw bullpen sessions, but it's the lower body issue that he's coming back from with the knee and everything. So he has not yet been fully cleared to be able to do everything. And until he's fully cleared, I think you think about it in terms of him not being available to start the season. And that's not off the table yet by any stretch of the mind, but he's not cleared yet. And then there is going to be some ramp up time that goes along with that here as he moves forward. So a lot of moving parts. We'll probably see Lars Nootbaar arrive here over the next couple of days as he is continuing his rehab process in Southern California. That was planned. He's the only player who has not yet arrived. But really good work by the Cardinals so far in making sure that everything is in place that they want to be in place. And I think they're being creative, and I think they're being very open-minded in how they want to go about the preparations for this season. And the next question is going to be what kind of dividends it ends up paying out. So here's what we've got coming up. Cardinals, by the way, did make a small move today. We'll get into that in our final segment. Up next, though, we'll hear from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. A lot of things to talk through with the Cardinals skipper, and we'll do that, play back much of what he had to say earlier today. That's coming up in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line from Jupiter, Florida on KMOX.
Save big money on your next lighting project at Menards. Find your style with Patriot Lighting. We have a variety of styles and finishes to complement your decor. Match your unique style and add a comfortable and inviting atmosphere to any space. Shop our huge in-stock and online selection of Patriot Lighting. And check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament has been the showcase for buzzer beaters, madness, and championship glory. With nearly 5 decades of heart-racing excitement, it begins here at Enterprise Center. The 2026 State Farm MVC Tournament, presented by Credit Union One, Great Southern Bank, and SSM Health, tips off on March 5th through 8th. Celebrate 50 years of the Valley's postseason championship. Get your tickets now at archmadness.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
This is Harry Carey from the beautiful new Busch Memorial Stadium.
From moment to memory.
The chase is on.
Among those voices, Bruce Bradley.
I felt better when Jimmy Carter was president, knowing that Rosalind Carter was around saying, now, Jimmy.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, did you just have your house painted? Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, no, it's actually Rhino Shield.
877-25rhino.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
This is Megan Lynch. 250 doctors go to Ophthalmology Associates. That's why I trust them. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Are you turning 65 or new to Medicare? Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
100 years, one legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service. Classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
Welcome back in from Jupiter, Florida. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX as we continue to take you through the evening up until 8 o'clock this evening. And then after the 8 o'clock news, we will have our Gas House Gang replay. We have hit that time of the show where we had a little bit of fun with audio. We go back through what was talked about today with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. Today was the first official full squad workout for the Cardinals. And also there were a couple notable alumni who joined camp as well, as both Yadier Molina and Ozzie Smith were here, and they were in uniform, and they were certainly very busy throughout the day, and they will be busy over the next week or so as they both are expected to be here for a little while. So as the entire group came together for the first time, that was in the clubhouse. You had the players, you had all the coaches, you had staff, you had the alumni. It was a large group as they spoke for the first time and got together for the first time in camp. And that was something that Oliver Marmol very much enjoyed.
It was fun. And I know I've mentioned the enthusiasm in that room, but you got an opportunity to get everybody that's a part of the organization in one room and speak into it this morning, which is the reality of it is we're stepping into a new chapter of Cardinal baseball, and the people in that room, and I mean, everybody gets to play a part in defining that. So it was interesting to see certain chapters that have already been written standing in the room, like Ozzie and Izzy and Yadi, but then to not even challenge the group, but just set the expectations for how we're going to do that moving forward. And you get to shape the culture inside that clubhouse and also the style of play outside of it in between the lines. And that's exciting.
Let's talk a little bit about the alumni presence. Again, you have Yadier Molina, you have Ozzie Smith, Jason Isringhausen will be here all throughout spring and with his role at the team, and he's a big part of it. And there's some other individuals who are part of this or are going to be part of it as spring goes along. And Ali believes that alumni presence can be very impactful.
The advantage we have over a lot of other clubs is a rich history, and then the willingness of those guys that made a name for themselves in St. Louis to come back and speak into the culture moving forward. And it's one thing Chaim and I have spent actually a lot of time this offseason on, and I'll kind of give you guys here in the next few days our game plan, but our hope is to have several guys that haven't been in camp in a while back in camp and start to normalize that as well. So yes, Yadi's one of them for sure that we're excited about. Waino will be another one that we bring back, and there's several others that haven't been around that I think could be impactful for these young guys.
Speaking specifically about how those interactions, not set up is the wrong word, but how they occur, the environment in which it happens, those interactions between players and alumni really need to be set up in a way that they can bear fruit and help players get better.
I want to do it in a way where, yes, you are really understanding of who you're standing in front of and what they've accomplished in their career. but also in a way where they're humanized and comfortable asking them questions and being vulnerable of the things that you want to learn, but also don't do well that they can speak into. Because at times you can just sit in awe of Ozzie Smith. Then what? Right? So you have to be able to do it in a way where they feel like they can ask a question and actually extract some wisdom from the guys that we bring into camp.
And the Cardinals are very lucky, and Ollie knows this. The alumni, they love being able to come to Florida and work with these active players.
And they all do it in their different ways. Like both Yadi and Oz prefer those one-on-one conversations and just off to the side where they can speak into different areas of the game, whether that's preparation or the physical aspect or the mental, whatever the case may be. But you really want to get to the point where you get past the shock and awe and you can have conversation. Like that's when you're really doing it well. It's not just an appearance, like, and a photo op. Like those guys want to help, and you have to set it up in a way where you create an environment where they can help, you know? So my hope is that guys that are here for the first time in camp find an opportunity to just take one little nugget away from one of those guys, you know? So we'll have several of them coming in and out of camp, and we're trying to be very strategic as to when and why.
Specifically to Molina, it sounds like he's going to spend about a week here. Then it's going to be time for the WBC, and he's going to be managing the Puerto Rican team. And then it sounds like he's going to come back to Cardinals camp once the World Baseball Classic is going to come to an end. And then we'll see him throughout the regular season as well, both with the Major League club and also making visits to the minor league affiliates as well. Ollie's very clear in saying that he hopes that Yadi spends a lot of time with this team.
The plan is to have him around as much as possible. That's my number one plan. And he's more than open to that. So I know he has to travel to the WBC and he has other responsibilities, but when that's not the case, he's going to be with us as much as possible. And there's no one area, obviously it's easy to just say work with the catchers, and that's what he's passionate about, but he's passionate about instructing in all areas of the game, and that's what I want him to have his eye open to, is just seeing areas of improvement, being able to talk to players and instill the just competitive nature and courage that he played with, and the attention to detail. Like that's one of the things we talked about today as a club, is just being obsessed with the small details of the game. That's something he did extremely well. So having him around and speaking into all areas is my hope.
And while we think about Molina and the impact that he can have on the catchers group, and that's certainly, it goes without saying, but I'll say it nonetheless. And watching him today, there were certain times where he brought all the catchers together and they talked through some things, but Ollie makes it clear. Yadi's not just here to mentor the catchers. All of these alumni can impact everybody on the team and in the organization.
It's an entire sheet. Yeah. There's not one. It's easy to sit here and be like, man, I want Herrera to take as much out. No, I want Mason Vick. I want Leahy, Palante. I want Tarangelo. Like, name them. Like, it's not, this is a matter of having you take Ozzie and Izzy, who I pointed out in the meeting today, and Yadi. There's a lot of games played in those bodies. There's a lot of failure experience. There's a lot of anxiety that was overcome. Like, you've got to be able to tap into all of that. So one player, no, like I hope they have an opportunity to get with as many of these guys as possible.
Quick sidebar, because we are talking about Yadi and we're talking about catchers and things like that. Ollie did give a bit of an update on, not maybe update's the wrong word, but talk through a little bit on Ivan Herrera, because we saw Herrera throw for the first time yesterday, and he's still not 100% cleared, and the throwing was coming from more of a stand-up position, but Herrera's getting closer and closer. I know they are fully confident that he's going to be 100% cleared by the time we get to opening day. They continue to be hopeful that he's going to be able to catch a little bit this year, and Ollie talked through the work that Herrera has put in this offseason, even a little bit banged up to get to where he's at right now.
There's a combination of things there, repattering his throwing motion in order for him to continue to be healthy, but also for the carry on the baseball. And a lot of work has been put into that. So physically, that's what we're looking for. And then on the other side of the ball, just continuing to improve and work on the game calling aspect, which he's put a lot of work into this offseason with our staff. But the combination of those two things are in a pretty good spot.
I thought this was there was a lot of talk this morning about team culture, expectations, a young team, and kind of all of that coming together. And the outside expectations are not high for this team. I'm not breaking any news when I tell you that. Cardinals internally have high expectations, and young guys are excited about maybe proving people wrong. We've talked about that a lot as well. But what about the Cardinals standard? The expectation of how the Cardinals play the game, how they respect the game, how they go about things, even when they have a very young team. Well, Ollie makes it very clear. And I think Cardinals fans, should appreciate this. No matter how you feel about Oliver Marmol, I would hope that you would appreciate this. He basically said the Cardinals standard does not change just because it's a young team.
When you're young, you can have enthusiasm, you can have energy. I don't think anything is changing other than cultivating a certain leadership quality and collective leadership from a group that doesn't have a ton of veterans in the room. Yeah. But from a culture inside of those walls or a style of play between the lines, it's the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah. Like nothing changes there. Yeah. So I no. Like you want these guys to be themselves, and it's a young group. They're going to have energy, but that doesn't, in my eyes, change.
There's also been a lot of talk with this being a young team and with this being so much of a reset for the organization. It's an opportunity to maybe take a step back and really evaluate how you're doing things and if you can innovate the way that you go about getting ready for a season. So Ollie admits this spring training, it really does allow them to evaluate how they're doing things, but at the same time, there's some classic principles that are not going to go away.
There's definitely elements that you want to keep the same. And I think when you're doing it well, there is a very intelligent blend of tradition and innovation. So that's more of how I'm looking at it, is making sure that we are anchoring to the things that have given us success, that have stood the test of time, and then innovating on top of that. So there's areas you'll see that in, especially with a young group. You can take chances in different ways and kind of shape the day differently. So we have that's definitely on our radar.
Bluntly, we got into the weeds a little bit with Ollie today, and it's okay to do that every once in a while, because there was so much focus in the line of questioning today about creating culture. And it felt like creating culture and creating winning based off some of the questions that were being asked were kind of the same thing. And I don't think Ollie sees that way. Culture and winning are linked, but maybe not the exact same thing.
You create a winning culture where you're developing winning players, and you take your shot every day, whether at the end of the day when you're doing your debrief, you're on the right side of that or not. It doesn't change the culture that you've created. It changes some of the action plans for the next day, and you're like the way you go about programming and making sure that we're closing the gap on where they're at and what their ceiling is. But from a culture standpoint, like, you can't ever lose the urgency of what matters. And like today, we talked about being absolutely obsessed with the details of the game, and to the point where it's exhausting to the opposition to play us. Like, that sounds a lot like just winning Cardinal baseball. Okay. So it's connecting them. That's why when you ask the tradition question to the things that have, but also like now we do have more staff, more technology, different facilities. Like, you can innovate on top of that. But like from a culture standpoint, no one's trying to reinvent the wheel here.
And as you create a culture, you want to create players who are leaders, who have leadership skills. And we make too much of the whole leadership thing. But as Ollie watches some of these young players take steps forward and move into having larger voices on the team and being able to lead, they want to make sure that they're able to give those players the tools that they need to help them move into kind of a bigger role.
It's more so being so intentional with each person that we get them to like grow into what we think is possible for them. And I continue to say, and it's going to be a collective effort when it comes to that part of this as far as leadership. but seeing Vic in his own way start to take ownership over things, seeing Mason do the same thing, and then you look over at Libby, and then there's a couple guys in that clubhouse that we brought from the outside that have already started to take steps in that direction of understanding where we are and what their part is in this. So there's a combination, but it's more making sure that we are not so busy and programming and code that we can see opportunities to cultivate that a little bit.
A couple things on some individuals. So JJ Weatherholt worked at second base today. There was a time on kind of the main field that they do a lot of work on that there were just 4 infielders. It was Nolan Gorman at third, Mason Wynn at shortstop, J.J. Weatherholt at second, and Alec Burleson at first. And they got a lot of work together, and it's pretty clear that that is the direction this team is going towards in terms of kind of a base set lineup on the infield. So when watching J.J. Weatherholt, last year he was around. He eventually went to minor league camp, but he was around, but he didn't have a prominent role. This year he has a prominent role, and Ali is very much looking forward to watching Weatherholt on an everyday basis.
Just being able to see the consistency of play and personality, if I'm simplifying it, that's what I'm looking for. It'll be good to see him every day and not just in short stints like we did last year and truly evaluate that. I think he's going to handle it exceptionally well, just knowing what I know about him. But being able to actually lock in on him more than we have in the past, I think is the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
And when they watch him every day, it's more than just the hitting that they're going to be keeping an eye on.
One of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing the strides that were made is in the defensive challenges that we gave him as far as that part of his game. And then him just coming into his personality. Last year, he was very quiet, kept to himself, took care of business. This year, you can already tell he's a little bit more talkative, a little bit more open, like more of himself, and players play well when they can be themselves. So.
A little bit of an update on a couple players. First off, Dustin May. Essentially, he's going to get an extra bullpen as opposed to making a start the first time through the rotation in Grapefruit League play.
It's very similar to, if you remember, it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar to the programming we had for Sonny last year.
Things are set up for Matthew Liberator to make that Grapefruit League Game 1 start coming up on Saturday. While the full squad has arrived, not everybody has arrived. This had been previously reported, but it was confirmed Lars Nootbaar should arrive to Jupiter at some point in the next day or two.
Lars is, I believe he reported showing up a couple days late.
Yeah.
Based on some of the stuff that we have him doing, the technology that he needs is at home.
Yeah.
And then he's showing up, I believe, tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. And then last thing, I thought this was interesting, and maybe I should have played this when we were talking about culture and things like that, but it kind of stands alone. The way the facility is set up now, especially with the cafeteria space, it has allowed for there to be more integration between big league guys and minor league guys. They're in the cafeteria together. They may go to the cages. Like there's more areas that are in the complex that are meant for everybody in the organization and not just major league guys or not just minor league guys, where previously that was not the case. And even the Performance Center, it's an opportunity for everybody to come together. And Ali really feels like that's a huge benefit, that there is something to be had for the organization when the big league and the minor league guys are spending more time together.
You have to cultivate it. You have to create a framework where they can operate in and that start to normalize and become kind of just day to day. So especially where we are there, Heim's talked about it a ton. We are at our best when we're growing our guys. And that's a big part of it is the integration of both minor league, big leagues, and being able to have them feel comfortable.
That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. A lot from him today. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we're going to wrap up this edition of the program. You're locked in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
How many of you think taxes will go up in the future? And if they do, who will get hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Thursday, February 19th or Tuesday, February 24th. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
Jefferson Starship, the Runaway Again Tour. Saturday, September 26th, the Family Arena. Also featuring Atlanta Rhythm Section, Firefall, and Orleans. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Jefferson Starship, featuring Atlanta Rhythm Section, Firefall, and Orleans.
Are you proud? Some girls don't like boys like me. Oh, but some girls do. And Lone Star. Every little thing that you do. Baby, I'm a live Saturday, March 14th, the Family Arena. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Sawyer Brown and Lone Star together live.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Is your furnace on its last legs? Don't wait for a cold night to find out. Jerry Kelly and KMOX are giving you the chance to win a brand new furnace this winter season. Just go online to KMOX.com/contest through March 1st and nominate someone who you think deserves a brand new furnace. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Win a brand new furnace. For more information and contest rules, just head to KMOX.com/contests.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinals Spring Training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season.
Listen for Matt's Reports Daily. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting and Happy Roof on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it for just a few more minutes here on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. A reminder for you, coming up after the 8 o'clock news, we will have our Gas House Gang replay. Busy program tonight. I joined them for the first segment. Then I believe Amy Marks, of course, is there to talk hockey in the second segment, and Bob Ramsey there to talk Billikens basketball in the third segment. So it is going to be a very, very busy program. Hopefully you stay tuned for that coming up again after the 8 o'clock news. The Cardinals did announce a small roster move today, announcing that they have claimed right-handed pitcher Zach Kent off of waivers from the Texas Rangers. They add him to their 40-man roster to make room on the 40-man roster. Brian Ramos has been designated for assignment. Ramos hasn't been with the Cardinals very long, so a very short stint in the Cardinals organization. We'll see if something happens where, we'll see if he gets claimed after being designated for assignment, and if maybe there's a possibility that Ramos can stay in the organization. But this is just all the moves here are kind of, it's funny just in a way the baseball works. And it feels like maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment on this one. It feels like we've seen more of these type of things happen this year. So Kent rejoins the Cardinals organization. He first was acquired back on December 5th in a waiver claim from Cleveland. And then Texas had claimed Kent off of waivers from the Cardinals back on January 9th. So the way it's worked out for Kent this offseason, he was, again, selected off waivers by the Cardinals on December 5th. A little bit more than a month later, he was selected by the Rangers. That was after the Cardinals had to place him, designated him for assignment with the Justin Brule trade that occurred with the Cleveland Guardians. So that was all connected to a couple Cleveland type guys. So then Brian Ramos, he was originally, he's had multiple transactions this offseason as well. On February 1st, he was purchased by the Orioles from the White Sox. So he had been on the White Sox roster. 5 days later, he was then selected by the Cardinals from the Orioles after he was designated for assignment. And now, about a week and a half later, Ramos ends up being designated for assignment by the Cardinals. So all these guys, it's in and out. At the end of the day, and I've mentioned this before, I think one thing we're seeing right now with Chaim Bloom is anytime there's an opportunity to incrementally improve the roster, whether it's the 26-man roster or the 40-man roster, he will try to do it. Now, sometimes when I say improve, we're talking about improve from a long-term standpoint, not a short-term standpoint. Sometimes it is a short-term standpoint. But if there is somebody who has more organizational upside than some that becomes available compared to just any other person on the roster, they're going to make that move. And I hope that they continue to think that way moving forward. Sometimes teams start to kind of fall in love with their own guys. That's why this is a key period right now with Chaim being around and maybe not being as, but I mean, somebody like Brian Ramos, you're not going to be, you're not going to fall in love with them. You know, they're not somebody that you've developed, but it's just another reminder that this is an organization that is going to continue to be active when it comes to the roster, when they have opportunities where they feel like that they can make the organization better. All right, that's it for this edition of the program. Tomorrow, I do not believe we have a show tomorrow. We'll have Redbird Rush Hour during the 5 o'clock hour, but we're going to not have this show because we've got Billikens basketball. Yeah, they play at 6 o'clock coming up tomorrow night. So a 5:45 pregame. So no Sports Open Line tomorrow evening. Thanks so much for being tuned in. Our Gas House Gang replay on the way next on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line, right after a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. As we wrap up a Gray Bar Sports Open Line, that's what I'm trying to say. It's time to call it a night here on KMOX.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been